Atollis, based out of Charleston, South Carolina, is an eyewear accessory and gear company focused on enhancing your time on the water. Their floating sunglass retainers are the most technically advanced around. Over 5 years of engineering, testing, and exhaustive feedback from paddlers, anglers, and watermen have resulted in a patented design in a class of its own. They're incredibly light and comfortable, built for durability, sport a sleek, minimal design, float virtually all brands and models of sunglasses, and they're backed for life. So if you break them, Atollis will replace them. No questions asked. Whether you're fishing, kayaking, or boating, Atollis will save your shades from the dream. Head on over to atollas.co to check out their gear and use promo code faithnfish15, that's faith the letter N, fish the number 1, 5, at checkout to save 15% on your order. Okay, so yeah, it will not be a Faith and Fishing podcast apparently until Cam forgets to hit record. But this time we only lost about halfway through the ad before I realized it. So we didn't actually lose any of the conversation, which was good. And yeah, so I will get the hang of this StreamYard stuff eventually, I promise. But in the meantime, y'all bear with me. Today we are joined by Chris Slywka, who is he is the host of the Mindset podcast over on the Paddle and Fin podcast network. It is a fantastic podcast, y'all. Y'all make sure you go listen to it. By the time this airs, I believe there will be a probably the latest episode will be featuring yours truly. So make sure you go check that one out. And Chris is he is a tournament angler and has grown exponentially in the past couple of years in his angling. He's going to come on and talk about a few things. So I'm going to go ahead and get him in. And yeah, so Chris Slywka Fishing, welcome to the show, man.
How you doing, man? Doing great.
Awesome, man. So yeah, so go ahead and introduce yourself to our listeners. Tell us a little bit about who Chris Slywka is.
Yep. First, Chris Slywka from Chicago, Illinois. I'm been tournament fishing for a couple years now. I started as a co-angler, moved myself to the kayak side. I just wanted more freedom, more being able to make my own decisions and kind of move around on the water at my own free will versus someone else telling me what we're gonna do. And then I got into the podcast thing about 10 months ago with the Paddle and Fin Network talking about the mindset. Basically, instead of always talking about what lure someone's throwing or what someone's fishing out of, it's basically getting people prepared for a tournament and understanding what goes through people's minds while they're out there fishing, whether it's trying to catch the biggest fish in the lake or a personal best or trying to win a tournament.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so I want to talk about the podcast for a second. So
Yep.
You just kind of gave us the premise of it, which is an awesome premise, the mindset premise. What so far? What are some of the things that you've gotten to learn from other anglers so far?
I mean, there's a lot there. um, there's certain things like last week I had on I think it was last week. I had on Drew Gregory, and his knowledge alone kind of sets a whole. Besides just the mindset thing, he went through how he prepares, why his strategy works, and then why it doesn't work at times. Just being out there as an angler. I mean, we're away from our families a lot when we're out here doing this. Some weeks at a time, some months at a time. I mean, just the whole aspect of things. And then there's certain things where I learned techniques when I wasn't even trying to. It's I did a whole episode on how someone can learn a new technique and learn how to put down what they're used to using just to pick up something new. I learned how tournaments are ran from tournament director side and kind of everything that goes into that. I mean, there's a lot. Like when you ask the question, I'm like, we're gonna get off the podcast and be like, oh man, I should have said that. Oh, I know I learned that. It's
Right. Yeah, that's awesome though. You've had a really, really, really solid group of guests to come
yes,
on. Um, I am I am honored to be a part of that list.
yeah.
But yeah, man. So what was the process like trying to decide that you're going to do it? Was it an like right away? I know I want to do this, so let's do whatever I can to make it happen, or was it something that was kind of an idea for a little while, and then it kind of you were like, maybe not. What what was your mindset there?
It was an idea for like 2 years.
Okay,
One person I really look up to in the fishing industry is Gerald Swindle, and he's the only one that I know of that like goes and does seminars and things about mindset and about getting prepared for tournament fishing. And that kind of gave me the idea of it, and I kind of just sat on it. People said, because of my voice is too low, it won't work, or because I'm not really talkative at first. I'm a shy person at first. That it wouldn't work. How are you gonna talk to people when you have a hard time talking to people in person? So like little things like that kind of get in your head at times. And then I brought it up to Brian after we were doing a paddle and fin trail series last year, and I brought it up to him. I said, "Hey, I was thinking about this idea. How can I get started?" And he's like, "Well, just jump on with us."
awesome.
And that kind of, and then he was my first guest because we were already building a friendship at that point. So it just made it easier. And then, obviously I had my struggles in the beginning where it was hard to keep a conversation, or it was hard to like get to know the other person through a podcast as you were trying to have a podcast.
Absolutely. That is awesome that you say that. I'm over here
Yeah.
nodding my head really hard.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. Like my daddy used to introduce me to people, say, "This is my son Cameron. He doesn't talk to people." So, like for us to be sitting here on like having a
Yeah.
conversation on a podcast,
Yep.
both podcasters is a testament that encourage
Mhm.
anybody that's listening that has a podcast idea to just jump on it. And and if you need advice on how to get started and everything, ask your favorite podcaster.
Oh
Especially in
yeah.
the fishing community, like we are we're pretty approachable. We're easy to get a hold of. And
Yeah, we're not super famous, so
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, speak for
yeah.
yourself, man. I've got like what 400 followers on Instagram.
Yeah, but yeah, I would say the same thing. Like, just go out and do it. You know, that's the podcast is the best thing that I've ever done for my career, for my fishing
Absolutely,
career, and
absolutely. I've gotten to learn so much
yeah.
from so many different people. It's been awesome. Yeah, man. So, kind of, kind of uh, give us an idea of how you got started fishing. More so, less the how and more the who. Who was it that got you started?
It was my brother that got me started when I was really young. He took me out a bunch, but I didn't learn tournament fishing until I didn't even know it was a thing until I was 20 years old. I just kind of knew go fishing, go have fun, worm on the hook type of fishing, catfish, whatever bites type of fishing. Until I was sitting at a pond with my little nephew, and he said, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna go to the Bassmaster Classic," and I started asking him questions, man. I mean, he had to be like 14 or 15 at the time, but um, he's like, "Yeah, people do tournament fishing. People do, they go to tournaments, they win trophies, they win money." I'm like, "Oh well, I didn't know this was a thing." And This is way before kayak fishing got popular, or it was even a thing at that. Yeah, and that's kind of how I got started. Like I started doing research on it. I started reading a bunch of books on it. I started really like kind of dialing myself in, and 10 years later, I'm here now. But it's been a long and hard 10 years, man.
For sure, for
To
sure.
build the skill up and to be confident enough to go out there and feel like you have a chance at winning. It takes a lot, you know.
Absolutely. And so at this point, what how many different trails have you participated in?
I've only participated. Well, I did the Bass Nation stuff for a little while. It kind of got expensive because I was still really young when I was doing that. And I kind of took a break from it. I didn't take a break from fishing necessarily. I was always fishing and like trying to get my skills better. But financially, I needed to take a break from the tournaments just because it's a pay to play sport.
Right.
We all know that. And then on top of that, you got the tackle that you have to pay for it, the gas, hotels. It's especially out here in Illinois because our lakes suck and we always have to travel if we want to get
Right.
some good fishing in, man. Like there's very few and far between and a lot of the places out here don't allow boats. So like when I was a co-angler, we would have to go somewhere else in order to have a tournament because a lot of these places are electric motor only. Now with the kayak, it's a lot easier, but they there's politics that went into that kind of drove everybody away from here.
Right.
But, yeah. But
Absolutely.
yeah, it's only been three trails because the other trail that I was a part of it's like the only one in Illinois. It's like one of two that are in Illinois. It's the only one without like a membership fee, and it's like as long as you pay, you can go to the tournament. You don't have to pay anything extra or anything like that.
I got you.
And then yeah, the other one was the last year where Paddle and Fin did like a regional series, and that's kind of really where I learned that I can actually do this.
Right.
Placing second in AOY was a big step forward.
Absolutely. I want to talk about the coangler thing too, because so a lot of my listeners are from the saltwater side or just from the recreational side. They don't know
Mhm.
a lot about the tournament scene, because until I started this, I didn't either. And so I want to like for those who may not know, kind of explain what a coangler is. You said you didn't have a lot of freedom, and
Yeah, so
so kind of explain what a coangler is and why you didn't have that freedom.
yeah, so coing is basically you're fishing out of the back of someone else's boat, and you guys from what I did, you share the hotel, you share the boat, and obviously you share expenses. But at the end of the day, on the Bass Nation side of things, you're all competing to go to a one championship, and you're competing the way it's set up, or at least the way it was set up when I was doing it. You're literally competing against your boater to catch the same fish, and to go to this championship to have a chance to go to the Bassmaster Classic, which is like the Super Bowl of bass fishing. So, and you can't really, especially at that age when I was 20 and I was just getting into it, I was just learning, you really can't tell them, hey, I think this is a better fishing spot. We should go here. It's like the people that I got paired up with, all great guys. I still talk to them till this day, but it's my way or no way in
Right.
some way, shape, or form. It's like this is what I know. This is what I know I'm good at as far as a technique or a style or like I fish shallow or I fish deep. Um, as far as that goes, like so they wanted to fish their style, and even if it doesn't match your style, you're kind of screwed at that point. You're just
So
sitting there hoping for something to happen, and
right,
you're competing against the guy in front of the boat. So he has no intentions of really helping you on tournament day,
right.
you know.
So, coming from the mindset podcast, what does your mindset have to be to go in and fish on the back of somebody else's boat, knowing that you're competing against a person who is in charge, who is, they can position the boat where you can't even cast to any of the good spots or anything. Like, what does your mindset have to be even remotely successful in that situation?
What I did a lot of is I just fished a lot smaller baits, or I fished a different color than they did. So at least once they got done, if they missed a fish, I still had a chance to catch fish because I wasn't throwing the same exact thing. A lot of people go in and throw the same exact thing as the guy out in front. Well, he's been doing it longer than you. He's way more invested in it than you technically are as far as dollar amount. All right. So if he's throwing something, there's a lot of times he's not missing a fish. And they're not going to come back and bite yours if they're not going to bite his, most likely. So I would throw things smaller, sometimes like crappie style jigs that like I would go that small to pick away at things that they couldn't get to. So I got really good with a spinning rod, and that's one of the main things I use. Yeah.
I hear you. That's I would not be a very good co-angler then,
Yeah.
because because you got to force me to pick up a spinning rod most of the time.
Yeah.
I'm a power fisherman through and through. And if I can't fish my square bill, I'm not going to be happy that day. Even if it is like
Yeah.
it's in the dead of winter, it's the water temperature is 40 degrees. They're not going to be chasing anything. I'm still burning that square bill
Yeah.
trying to get that light, just trying to get it right in front of a face so that there's a
Yep.
reaction bite. Um, because getting that finesse bite is not my strong suit. I'm learning. I am learning.
Oh,
Uh,
we're learning every day, man. We that's the great thing about this is we're learning every day, and even though we're all tournament fishermen, we all think we're really great. We lose a lot more than we win. You know, it's
absolutely.
in this game we do. So it can get tough out there, but I count like top tens, and I count cashing checks as wins more than I count getting first place as a win. You know.
That's awesome. Yeah, so let's kind of start transitioning towards faith a little bit. How how have you seen that mindset and faith kind of play together?
Well, I mean, you have to. Well, you should believe in something, right? So I believe in God. That's what I was always taught, and I think He helped a lot in what I'm doing. Um, as far as like the mindset part of it tying into faith is, I mean, I haven't thought about it that way. I kind of see them as two separate things, right? Because you go into your mindset thinking you're gonna win. And faith has nothing to do with that, but faith has everything to do with the work that you put into it.
Okay.
Believing that he's going to keep you safe, believing that you're going to get off the water. Thought about this a lot. So ever since you asked me to be on, I took a couple weeks to think about this. I don't think he can. I don't think faith or God or anything can help you win an event. That's just the hard work put into it, but he can help you get positive mindset versus negative mindset in a way. Think positively, think like if something goes wrong, think, oh, well, that's supposed to happen, because and then the next thing that happens will be 10 times better because of this. It,
Okay.
it's a hard to explain, but
Right.
you know like it's there. Like I before I get in the water, I always ask, just keep me safe. I don't care if I catch a fish.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
And I guess to kind of help with this part of it, kind of what is your faith story? What is it you believe in, and how was it that you came to believe in what you believe?
Well, I mean, it was always taught to me to believe in God, and I believe. I was I can be wrong about this. My parents passed away when I was young, so I didn't really get to ask a lot of questions. But I believe I was baptized Catholic. They say I believe it's either Christian or Catholic. It's one of the two, but they both believe in God in different ways. So I was always taught to believe in that, and yeah, I mean it's ever since I was really young. And fishing just kind of tied into that, and that life ties into that. I know that, like, so it's never been something like where like people told me, well, that's not right,
Okay.
or that's like false. It's just always been something that, and you put yourself around people that think similarly also. No, I mean, most of the time. I know doing this podcast, you probably get a lot of different answers, a lot of different things. But yeah, it's like I've never had someone tell me, well, it's not real, you know. And I'm
Right.
sure that I know there's people out there, but why argue with people when everybody has their own belief system? You
Absolutely.
know?
For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Um, so you didn't grow up in church or anything. You just kind of
Um,
um, you kind of base off of you understand what you were taught, and then you kind of base off of your own experiences, right?
yeah.
Um, so let's talk about those experiences on the water. Like, what kind of times on the water, like, where does your you said you believe in God, or has there been any times on the water that, like, you feel you feel like you've been close to God, or like, um, God is, like your faith in God has kind of been reaffirmed or anything, or that have there been times that have shaken that faith? Kinda kinda go into that a little bit.
As far as like shaking it, not really on the water per se or anything. Um, not. I don't think there's anything that's been shaken. There's definitely been times where I'm like, okay, like, trying to think. There's been times, but I'm trying to think of a good way to say it. Like, because there's been like thunderstorms and stuff like that, and you
Right.
stay safe and stuff like, and then that's when you like kind of think of it. But as far as like catching a fish or something, I don't think that way of it, because I think that's the hard work that's being put into it. Like I said, I believe he keeps me safe, and I believe like that's all I ask for. At the end of the day, if I don't catch a fish, I still get to come home. Yeah, like I mean, we all still get to come home. We all still have our houses and everything. That's the most
Absolutely.
important thing is staying safe out there. So that's all I ever ask for. Um, like I'm trying to think, like outside of it, I know he has. Outside of fishing, I know he has. There's been times where it's like I ask for something and then it just happens.
Okay.
Like with the kayak that I got, I know he helped me with that. Brian did a lot, but I had to meet Brian in order for that to happen.
Right, right. And I mean, I know Brian's faith, and, I know, without Brian being the kind of person that Brian is, that wouldn't have happened. So, um, if any of our listeners don't know, um, so Chris was given a new canoe. What
No,
was it?
it was a new canoe pursuit, and it was fully loaded to the T. I mean, we didn't do that video justice because we were still waiting on some parts to come in. We were
Right?
still waiting on a fish finder. We were still waiting on motor parts to come in. So
But it's fully rigged out with lights. It'll have a fish
yes,
finder and motor, and I don't even know what else.
yeah,
I know, man,
it's
so
it's
much.
a lot. Like I was shocked. I was shocked, at that point. I didn't really talk during that video. I didn't know what to say, It's
Absolutely. It's it's one of those times where it's okay to be speechless.
yeah, yeah.
So, have you had a chance to take the pursuit out a couple of times, right?
Yeah, we took it out that day. We got everything rigged up. We took it out on the river for like 2 or 3 hours. I took it out last Wednesday for a couple hours just to kind of really get a feel for it. And the boat's been amazing. But like I said, God put me in a situation to meet him in order for this to happen. You know,
Absolutely.
so I do believe that. you
For
know,
sure, for sure. So yeah, so now you've got, you got this pursuit. You're getting ready to go down to Dale Hollow and throw the hammer down on some people. Um,
I'm getting ready to go down there. I don't know about all that.
yeah,
That's
you
always the goal, but like it's fishing can be fishing.
yeah, yeah.
It can be your day, and it can just be a grind. But at the end of the
They
day,
don't call
we
it
just
catching.
gotta, yeah. At the end of the day, we just gotta have fun with it. That's what I do every time I'm out there.
Absolutely. Um, so, um, I'll actually, while I'm thinking of it, I'll go ahead and give you a chance to kind of the, um, plug the Dale Hollow trip because I think it will be whenever this goes up, it will have passed.
Yeah.
But for those watching on Patreon, they will be able to see this. Um, uh, at It should go up today, so that'll be 2 weeks before the episode airs. So if anyone ends up watching on Patreon, go ahead and let them know about the Dale Hollow trip.
Yep. So, Dale Hollow trip is happening April 2nd and 3rd, I think, are the official tournament days. A lot of us are heading up March 30th or March 31st. So a lot of our hosts will be there. If you want to meet somebody, if you want to meet me, Brian, or anybody like that, we'll be down there. And it's gonna be a fun time. They have cabins available. They have house. No, I'm sorry about that. Cabins sold out. I believe they still have houseboats available, and they have campsites available. Um, and it's $80 to join the tournament, but I mean we're going out down there to have fun. Uh, excuse me. Amazing food also. That's all I hear everybody talk about. And the fishing's amazing too. It's the world record holder for largest smallmouth caught, and they still like when I'm doing my research, you still see 6, 7. A 4 is like an average fish for them down there. In largemouth and smallmouth, uh, both of them, and it's gonna be a fun event, man. It's definitely gonna be a fun event.
Absolutely. That place is on my bucket list. I was hoping to make it down there this year, but the event ended up falling the weekend before our anniversary. So we're going to be celebrating that instead.
Yeah,
So
we can't miss that day. I know
absolutely,
that.
absolutely. But yeah, I'm hoping to make it over there at some point.
Yeah.
It's such a beautiful lake from the pictures, and I've been told that the pictures don't do it justice. So you'll have to let me know how pretty it actually ends up being.
I
But
will. I mean, I know we do this every single year. This will be our second year doing this. We kind of got rid of the tour or regional series, if you call it that, this year, but we're definitely gonna always be doing our Dale Hollow Open around this time of the year. So if you miss it this year, be sure to be looking out for next year because all you're gonna hear about is how much fun we had down there and, and how much food we ate.
absolutely. So there are a few questions that we make sure we ask every guest. And before they slip my mind again, I want to make sure that I ask So, what fishing story or memory means the most to you?
Um, hmm. Probably the one where I learned about the Bassmaster Classic.
Absolutely.
We had a lot of great fishing adventures, but that's kind of like sparked everything that has now turned into all of this. You know,
Absolutely. And you were fishing with your nephew, right?
yeah. My little nephew, he was about like he's all grown up now, graduated college, but that time I think he was about 14, 15.
What were y'all
Yeah.
fishing for?
We were fishing for bass. He had a local pond by his house. We just had to walk across the street, and there was tons of bass in there.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So we were bank fishing most of it. I got a kayak. He's afraid to get in one. He said he'll flip it, but I'm gonna get him to change his mind this year.
Yeah, for sure. They are a lot more stable than they used to be, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's what I told him. That's I'll change his mind this year.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't know about the secondary, stability.
Yeah.
They feel that primary stability give, and they're like,
Uh huh.
"Oh, no, 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 no."
Yeah.
But, kayaks have, like, or at least, the really, really wide ones have
Yeah.
a really solid primary stability, but they don't have any secondary stability. Once they reach a certain point, they're gone.
Yeah.
But the narrower ones, wow, that's a hard word to say. They have, like, so the primary stability gives, and then it catches, and then they have that secondary stability.
Yep.
That's why I always tell people, whenever you get a new kayak, take it out with nothing on it and flip it, because you can feel where the different stabilities are, and then feel, this is the point of no return. So as long as I don't go here, I'm good. Now I'm comfortable with all of the rocking and everything.
Yeah.
Also gives you practice on getting back into it. If it ends up being one that's too hard to flip back over or something, you know, then, um, it may be worth looking into something else. Um, but yeah, so, yeah, and whenever you're out fishing with somebody, I know you said you were kind of a shy person. It's kind of a quiet person. I am too. But, um, what are you typically talking about whenever you're fishing with somebody? What's that conversation centered around?
Fishing normally. No, like even when I'm fishing with people who I know are probably better than me, I turn into like a guide. Somewhat like because I'd rather see people catch fish than me catch fish. So if I start figuring something out, that's the first thing I do is, hey man, this is working. I'm throwing it here. Um, Try this out. Even if they're catching fish, I just go into that mode of figuring out the puzzle. That what everybody talks about,
That's
and
awesome.
and sharing that information with the people I'm fishing with, because obviously, I'm not competing against them at that time. We're out there to have fun and catch fish together.
That's
Um,
awesome. Yeah. Have you ever had anybody that kind of was standoffish about that, or has everybody been receptive
mm,
of it? And
no, because a lot of the people are either friends or people who want to learn.
okay,
Friends, family, or people who want to learn fishing. I've never gotten paid for guide trips, but I have taken a couple people out that was trying to learn a certain body of water, or trying to learn how to like wade the river at times. And like it was, you kind of call it a guide trip that I didn't get paid for. But like I said, they were still friends, just trying to learn
right.
what I was doing.
That's awesome. I was wondering if you had anybody like me who they love learning, but they hate being taught. Yeah.
No, I know Brian has. They're best friends, and anytime we go up to Brian's lake, it's like he says throw a shaky head and no one ever does it.
Yeah.
And he catches all the fish and we just sit there and look at him and still refuse to throw it.
That's awesome. That is
Yeah.
awesome. That's the kind of person I tend to be a lot of
Yeah.
times, is I'm too stubborn to do to do what I'm being told to do by the person who's actually catching fish.
Yeah.
I'll sit there and I will watch them catch fish, and I'll be like, "Well, that lure you can't catch fish on that lure." And
Yeah.
catching a bunch of fish on it. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's how it is with some people, but I mean, it's still we're all out there to have fun at the end of the day. As long as you have fun doing what you're doing or what you're throwing, I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it's about, you know. Yeah, and there's gonna be days where your technique works way better than mine, you
Yeah,
know.
absolutely. Um, so yeah, let's jump into what's your favorite. This is a segment we do with all of our guests. It's self-explanatory. I'll ask you your favorite in a few different categories. I know we talked earlier, and you didn't have a whole lot of knowledge of the Bible, so the first two you didn't really have an answer for. So we're gonna change things up just a little bit and ask, do you have a favorite quote to give us?
Um, yes, there's a few. I always post these quotes on Instagram. Let me try to pull one out for you.
For sure, for sure.
So,
And if you were
let
watching
me.
on the on
I'm sorry, guys. I am scrolling through trying to find
you're good.
my
And
quotes.
if you're watching on Patreon down here, at Chris Slywka Fishing is his Instagram if you want to check that out and see those quotes for yourself.
All right, this is one that I thought of. It says, "Stop going for the home run in life. Instead, build off of singles every day, and soon you will be winning the game."
Oh, that's awesome.
A
That's awesome.
little bit of baseball in there, a little bit of Hey,
Absolutely. I'm not huge into baseball,
yeah,
but I definitely understand the quote.
yeah.
That's good. All right, man. So, what is your favorite fish to catch?
Um, bass has to be bass. The one that gets me the most mad is a muskie because it's so hard to catch. Yeah.
So you said bass. Is that smallmouth, largemouth, spotted, rock, striped,
Um,
white, yellow?
I would say smallmouth bass just because of their fight,
Okay.
but I primarily fish largemouth just because it's easier access to me.
Okay.
But yeah,
So,
definitely smallmouth.
so smallmouth is the favorite one to catch. What is your favorite fish to fish for?
Um, eh, largemouth just because it's I've found a way to break down certain bodies of water to a point where I know I could go out there and catch them. And I know it's more of a mental thing where I'm trying to catch five or I'm preparing for a tournament or I go into kind of like a practice almost, and to where I have that lake broken down to where it's like, oh, if I need to catch one big one, where would I go if I'm on this lake almost? So I would say largemouth for sure.
Okay. Absolutely. And what is your favorite fish to eat?
I don't eat any fish.
No fish.
I think I'm somewhat like I'm mildly allergic because
Okay.
every time I've tried eating fish, it's almost like I don't necessarily throw up, but I get that feeling.
Right.
Before I can even swallow the food, before I can even swallow the fish down, I get that feeling.
Okay.
And it's not a choice of like it's not one of those things where I'm just not gonna do this. It
Right.
was I tried it. I've tried different species, and maybe it's how I cooked it too.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, it's never worked out in my favor.
Okay. So we don't eat fish. Let's talk about something that you do eat. What is your favorite fishing snack?
Um, sunflower. I would say sunflower seeds.
Okay.
This is because it's something simple. You could crack them while you're still fishing. Because I don't really like to stop. It's a bad habit. I need to break it.
Okay.
Especially during practice time and like tournaments. Because at the end of it, I'm just tired, hungry, and all the above of things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What do you have a particular flavor or brand that you
I
um
just get like I normally just get the originals unless like they have like I know I haven't seen them lately, but like they had the Takis flavored ones, or like sometimes they'll have like the flaming hot Cheeto flavored ones.
okay,
Like something like that I'll get on occasion, but normally I just stick with the original.
awesome. So whenever you're out fishing, if somebody wants to find your spots, they just follow the trail of sunflower
Yeah.
kernels.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm normally pretty good at letting people just know where I'm at.
Okay.
I
All right. What is your favorite body of water to fish? I don't need GPS coordinates or secret spots or anything,
eh,
but just a body of water.
favorite body of water has to be when we were in Michigan, it's called Clearwater Lakes, I think it's called, or the Clearwater Chain. It's a series of 3 or 4 lakes all put together. And although I didn't catch huge fish, there's bigger fish in there. I didn't find them that tournament, but man, I think I was down there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and I at least caught 20 to 30 fish each day.
Oh wow.
Like, I mean, when you could go out there and just have fun with it and not have to really feel like you're working for a bite, like that's a good fishery.
Absolutely. And you are somebody who seems like they don't have a whole lot of secrets, so
No,
I'm not gonna feel nervous about asking you this. What's your favorite lure to throw?
has to be a drop shot. Favorite worm on the drop shot would have to, as of right now, would have to be the um.
Sorry, the
What?
time's
Oh, you're fine. You're fine. I'm trying to think of the name of it. It's like the dream shot, basically, is what it is. It was by striking. It's one of the first ones I used. I was using another one from a company called Great Lakes Baits, but they since then went out of business. So it's back to that for now. But if you ask me this in 6 months, it could be something different.
okay.
But it's always going to be a drop shot setup.
Okay.
And the only thing that really changes is the worms, depending on the species that I'm fishing for. You
Okay.
know,
How long of a leader do you use?
that depends. Depends how deep I'm fishing. Sometimes it's only a foot. Sometimes it's 2 to 3 feet. Depending on I really go off of down scan and like 2D sonar to figure out how long I need that leader, depending on where those fish are sitting. And then I also will pitch it into grass.
That's awesome. Yeah, I am sorry for laughing. I'm sitting
No,
here
no, no,
listening
I
to the
know.
spaniel snore,
I know.
and
You're fine.
she's like dreaming, so her like paws are twitching.
Yeah.
I don't know if let's see.
Uh, yeah, I see it.
Oh man. Um. So yeah, and last but not least, what is your favorite time of year to fish?
It has to be like this time around springtime. Just because your chances for that really big fish is around this time, you
Absolutely.
know. I mean, summer you catch fish all season long, but your chances at the biggest one is now, right? Because they're feeding heavily. They're trying to get really fat before they go into spawn. So
Absolutely. So you're a pre-spawn then?
yeah,
Awesome.
yeah,
And I just realized that on your shirt, that is a fly reel
yep,
and not the Green Lantern logo.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, we didn't even talk fly fishing, so that's been something you've been really big into.
yeah.
Also, what's your favorite fish to target from the fly?
Musky. That's probably why I haven't caught one yet. Uh,
That's awesome. So,
yeah.
so with musky fishing, are you using like really big flies like we use really big lures whenever we're fishing for muskie or?
Yeah, I'm using anything from, I mean, the smallest I go is 8 inches. I mean, but I've gone up to like a 14-inch fly. And like they swim and do all these crazy things, and it's really expensive.
14-inch fly. What kind of gear does it take to throw a 14-inch?
A 12 weight rod. It also depends how the fly is built too. I did a lot of fly tying myself. It makes things cheaper.
Right,
Some of these musky flies go for $50 for a piece of hair.
right. Yeah,
So
I haven't watched any musky tying videos.
yeah,
I love watching fly tying videos.
yeah,
That is so satisfying to me to watch, like, just these feathers and hair getting tied onto a hook, and
yep,
by the end of it, it's like, "That looks like a shrimp. That
yep,
looks like a fly. That looks like a bumblebee."
yep. Yeah, so I started tying a lot of my own. I have a 10 weight that I throw my stuff on, but I also know that the flies I'm tying are really really light. They're not really the hair. I don't know how to describe this, but the hair is not like really compact, and I'm not putting a whole half a chicken onto a hook per se.
Right,
You know,
for
it's
sure.
it's light and sparse, but it also makes a profile.
That's awesome. We are gonna start winding down, man. Let us know, what do you have coming up for you? I know we already talked about the Dale Hollow trip, but what else, for you and for the Mindset Podcast, what do you have coming up?
Mindset podcast. The next episode is with you. That'll come out next Sunday or this upcoming Sunday. I'm confused on what day it is. We had a wedding on Sunday, so we've been in the hotel Saturday, Sunday until Monday, and none of us went to work yesterday.
Right?
So it's like everything's thrown off.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so your episode would come out Sunday. Then we head to Tennessee. Um, the whole podcast crew, everybody who's involved will be head to Tennessee. Um, and then after that, I have 3 weeks after that. I have Lake Geneva. In between that, I have an anniversary and her birthday to deal with. Um, we all know that gets expensive. Well, but yeah, I'm gonna be a busy guy, man. And as far as the mindset podcast, we're trying to get more. I'm trying to get more guests on who do it professionally. I'm like even trying to get a couple of the Elite Series guys on there. Couple. I don't want just it to be a kayak podcast because there's more to it than that. And especially for my episode, because whether you're fishing out of a boat or a kayak or even from the bank, there's still a mindset to what you're doing and why you're doing it. You
For
know?
sure.
So it's better to get the more people we could get in all those different areas, the more people we can reach.
For sure. And I want to give you an open floor for sponsor shout outs. Anyone you want to say thank you to, you go for it.
Oh man, who am I gonna forget? That's always the tough question. Uh, first and foremost, Brian for everything he's done, and then Rocktown Adventures, who just came out this year. They're our paddle sports and outdoor recreation area for the Illinois area. They're located in Rockford. Outdoorsman Coffee, see me wearing the hat. Um, they've been a supporter since last year, and I mean the coffee's just really good, man. Yeah. It's always nice to have a fresh cup of coffee in the morning. It's how I get my day started. I
Absolutely.
have to have coffee before I even talk to anybody. I am one of those people.
I talked about it on the podcast that went out today. Uh,
Yeah.
the tournament that I was in, that it ended up being really cold. The coffee was the only thing that kept me going.
Yeah.
There were times where it was like, I'm too cold for this, and I take a drink of coffee. It's like, okay, I can make it another 30 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and the good thing about their coffee is like it's not like super expensive to get a bag of coffee, and if you're doing one, well, I do one brew in the morning, and the bag lasts me a month. So to pay $15 for one bag that's gonna last you a month versus the $20 at the store for the well-known names,
Right.
we'll say, because I don't want to bash anybody. To pay $20 for that and only have it for 2 weeks. I mean, the difference is there, and the coffee's good, and you get to decide how you want it made. You can get it full beans, or you can get it completely grinded up.
Awesome.
And then let's see. I mean, well, I want to thank New Canoe also. I mean, they're not necessarily a sponsor of mine, but they did help out a lot with that whole deal with Brian. Even though everybody's saying there's a funny story, funny inside story about it. You know, I emailed Blake, who's the owner of New Canoe, and he's like, "Oh well, Brian did everything." And then I asked Brian, and Brian's like, "Well, no, they helped me." Yeah, it's nobody wants to take credit for it, but everybody knows they helped out with it,
Right.
type of situation. Yeah. So I mean, other than that, I don't think, yeah, I don't think there really is. I mean, I don't have a lot of them, but the ones I have, I appreciate, and I try to do as much as I can for them. You know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And what about social media, videos, any of that good stuff? Where can people follow your adventures? Where can people listen to the podcast?
Listen to the podcast on any podcasting platform, and include and also YouTube through the Paddle and Fin Network. It airs every other Sunday. Like I said, your episode comes out this upcoming Sunday. Um,
Hey.
and then everything else, YouTube, Face, Facebook is just my first and last name. You know, send me a friend request. If I see that you're a fisherman of any kind, I'll accept the friend request. I'm not on there putting my personal life on there anyways. It's all fish pictures. So yeah, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, all of them all are Chris Slywka fishing. And the YouTube has been kind of silent because ever since I sold the last kayak, I've been waiting to get this one. So I should, by the time I get done with Dale Hollow, the YouTube should kick back up, and I want to also try doing more like quick how-to videos also on there. But that would be on the YouTube Shorts part of things.
Awesome. And that's SLWKA. So
SLYWKA.
yeah,
Yeah.
SLYWKA. Think Chris Slywka Fishing.
Yep.
Well,
Yeah,
Chris,
it's hard. It's a hard name, but like I keep telling Brian, and like the more people I talk to and the more interaction I get, the more people will know the name.
that's right.
Yeah.
Well, Chris, man, thank you so much for coming on the show. I've had a blast, man, and we'll definitely keep in touch. And
Yep.
you may end up convincing me to pick up a fly rod at some point, but
Well, if
well,
you do pick up a fly rod, uh, go after carp first. Don't go after muskie.
I would have to travel a ways to go after muskie anyway. So
Yeah, yeah, don't do it. Um, yeah, carp's a fun species that you could probably find anywhere. Obviously, bass, same thing, especially during like the top water season. I'll throw poppers for bass at times. I use it more to as obviously fun fishing. But like a way to like relieve stress, because it is a stress. It's a thing that can relieve your stress easily as you're just casting, even if you're not really catching anything, versus the conventional fishing.
okay, absolutely. Well, man, thanks again. I'm gonna let
Yep.
you get off of here. I know it is getting close to that hour
Yep.
mark. So yeah, man. Let's see it out.
Yep.
Get Outdoors Pedal and Paddle in Greensboro, North Carolina offers a wide range of products and services designed to help protect the environment and enhance the time people spend enjoying the outdoors. With an expansive year-round inventory of kayaks, SUPs, bikes, kayak fishing accessories, paddling clothing, biking accessories, and more, Get Outdoors has established itself as one of the top paddle sports and biking shops in the Southeast. They also offer a wide range of kayak safety and technique courses to get you comfortable in your new boat. They'll even get it rigged up for you. Stop by the shop in Greensboro, North Carolina, or check them out at shopgetoutdoors.com.